Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to another top 10 or actually top 15 video. And this time we'll be doing the top 15 racing games for the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. Alright, starting with number 15, we have Hot Wheels Ultimate Racing for the PSP. Now, as you guys know, every list I kind of like to throw in, you know, like kind of like a little sleeper, right? Like a not so popular title, and this would be it. Some of the things I liked about this was obviously your brand, right? With Hot Wheels, I used to collect that growing up. My mom used to just go, every time she would go to Walmart or some supermarket store, she would go to like the toy section and pick up me a Hot Wheels. So it was because of that brand alone, which actually made me go ahead and download this game. One of the cons that I didn't like though, like as you guys can see, like the driving mechanics is actually kind of clunky, right? Like as you're turning, it just kind of feels weird. But for what it is, like I kind of gave it a pass. Another thing I did like about this was just the overall maps or whatever. Like you do get a turbo. I didn't like was you're not allowed to really change the camera angle, and like for a good racer, you want to make sure that you're able to just switch to that first person perspective, and not being able to do that on this game really kind of holds it back. But overall, it's a pretty good experience. Number 14, we have Split Second for the PSP. Now, I honestly got put onto this game probably like 2 months ago. Somebody in the comments was just like, it was after I made my top 10 list for the 353 VS. Somebody said Split Second was better than Burnout. Now, this is my first time hearing a Split Second. Is it better than Burnout? Absolutely not, but it is a solid game, and that's why I ended up making this list. I do love it for its graphics. The branding behind it is pretty much what kind of made it, right? And Disney Interaction actually put money behind this game, and as you guys can see, like they didn't miss, right? What I did like was the what is it called, the power play option. You don't really have a turbo, but you had that power play. It's kind of like having like the boost box from like Mario Kart or something like that, right? Like if somebody passes by, like if they pass by like a hazard, you're able to activate it. So whether it be a helicopter jumping out of the sky, whether it be a bomb from the side, whether it be a car blowing up, you're just able to do multiple things. You just kind of throw the racers off, but you also want to be careful because if you hit it and you're in that line of fire, you're going to get hit as well. All right, so number 13, we have Cruising Exotica for Nintendo 64. Now, it actually took me a sec to figure out which version that I would put on here, but I went ahead and went with Exotica mainly because it was just like, I like the name. Just simple as that. Like I like the cover, I like the name, I like the fact that you're able to get the alien characters. I like the fact that you're able to just get like I'm gonna say between 8 and 12 cars. Like I don't want to get that number wrong, but you do get a pretty decent car selection up front. And plus it's just nostalgic, right? Like I remember going to pizza parlors growing up, and like for some reason, like every pizza parlor in America, they all had like some version of cruising, right? Like either Pizza Hut, they had Cruising USA. If you went to like CC's Pizza on the East Coast, they had Cruising Exotica, or they had Cruising World. Like every single arcade or every single pizza parlor had some kind of cruising variation, and this one just so happened to be my favorite. Plus it just kind of looks good on this system, man. Like it's another Nintendo 64 game, and as you guys know, Nintendo 64 games they're difficult to run on a lot of these systems, so that, like, the fact that you're able to run it on this one is perfect. All right, number 12, we have F-Zero X for Nintendo 64. Let's see, it's just another one of those classics. Everybody kind of knows about it. I actually think it was a launch title for the Nintendo 64. I'm actually go back and double check that. But what I appreciated about this game was like the little power up and the little pit stops, right? So, on the second lap of F-Zero, you were able to get turbo, and once that turbo is activated, once that turbo is activated, you're able to just kind of speed through the level. But it every time you use it, it knocks down some of the power off your vehicle. So you have these little pit stops on the side, which you guys can see is this little pink area right here. That acts as like your pit stop, but they did it in like a unique way. And it was just pretty interesting. Like it made me want to continue to play through the levels, right? It's not one of those pick up and play type of games. It's more so like when I pick this up, I'm trying to play like I'm trying to beat records. I'm trying to beat, I'm really trying to beat the game. I'm trying to beat the courses. Like I'm trying to really, really go in and play. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's ranked so low on my list, right? Because when it comes to a racer, this is one of the ones that actually stress me out to the point to where I get upset and don't want to finish through. So, but when I am locked in, it's a good time. All right, so number 11, we have Diddy Kong Racing for the Nintendo 64. Another classic. I know I talked about this last time, but my first time really playing this game was at Blockbuster on a kiosk. And ever since, it's just been like a staple of racing games for me. Like, this is one of those dope kart races to where not only are you able to race a kart, but you're able to race in a plane and a hoverboard. One of the things I liked about this was it's just easy to play through. Again, the multiple vehicle selections, and then you have like this progression mode where it's like, if you're familiar with the Crash Team Racing series, this is where they got this from, right? Where you get to race the bosses and you get like an adventure mode to where you're driving throughout the courses and driving throughout the game. And you just kind of progress through everything. So it's just really, really cool feature. And then of course you get classic characters, right? Like, so you get Diddy Kong, you get, if you play through it and beat it enough times, there's this turkey. I can't remember his, not a turkey, it's a chicken. I can't remember his name for nothing, but like just getting some of these off the wall characters. And you get Conquer from Bad Fur Day. There's just so many rare characters that you just don't normally get to see in like the regular kart racer, including Mario Kart. So definitely one of those ones you want to pick up. Number 10, we have Hydro Thunder for the Nintendo 64. Now this is another one of those nostalgia type games. If you go to like, was it like Chuck E. Cheese or like a Dave & Buster, I'm pretty sure you're going to see this game in there. I'm pretty sure they have multiple different variations of this, but yeah, it's another one of those nostalgia classics. This was also one of those pizza parlor type things, but one of the things I did not like about this game was it's extremely hard, right? Like even now, I can only get past like level, like I can get past the easy mode, but once you get to the medium, it's extremely difficult to get through this. If you miss a turbo, it's pretty much over with, right? Like if you, like I'm so serious, if you miss one turbo, like you're not placing in that top 4 position in order to progress. Like it's exciting, like it's enough action going on that keeps your attention, and you know what I'm saying, like I wouldn't say it's one of those games where if you lose enough times you quit, but it's one of them games where if you lose enough times you gonna put it down for a while, but you definitely gonna come back to it because it holds, just, you know, from the graphics to the music to just the overall gameplay, it's enough to make you want to continue to progress and beat the game. All right, so number 9, we have Mario Kart Double Dash for the Nintendo GameCube. Now, one of the things I like about this game was, one, of course, is Mario Kart, right? But one of the things that made this unique was the fact that you're able to pick 2 different racers for your kart. What's blowing me is they've made so many different variations of Mario Kart since, and they have yet to bring back that ability. Like, that's what really made this game so great, right? Like, you still get the classic Mario where you get all your you get your classic 8 characters, but then you also get, you know, the multiple different cards, you get multiple different power-ups, and then each character has like a special. So when you're picking your characters, it's almost like a strategy now, right? Like now you're not just picking just because like that's your favorite character. You're picking because, okay, he can do this, he throws this, he does this, or you're able to go faster with this particular kart and this, that, and the third. So it just kind of gives you more customization options, and to be able to do it with Mario Kart, like you really can't go wrong. All right, so number 8, we have 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker for the Sega Dreamcast. All right, so this game made the list mainly because it's a truck racer, right? Like you don't have too many trucker style racers. There honestly aren't too many truck style racers on the market. And then it's a Sega Dreamcast title. So when Sega made arcade racers, they were all pretty much in this similar type of format, but like it just hit. Every single one of them was just fun. This one made the list mainly because it's just funny too. Like if you play this game and you just hear some of the commentary in the background, like it's hilarious. But it's just the different gameplay mechanics, right? Like not only are you racing the clock, but you're racing rivals, and then like you're hitting other cars in order to like extend your time. But one of the things I didn't like about playing this game on this particular system is it's just not comfortable. Like as you guys can see on my right hand, the trigger in the back, like it's that actual, what is it? It's the R2 trigger for the gas. So actually holding that and playing that long term, like as you can see, like my hand is just in a different position and it just wasn't comfortable, but it's still a good time. Number 7, we have NASCAR for the PSP. Now there are 2 different versions of this game. You have NASCAR 2000, I think that was for Sega Dreamcast or PlayStation, and then you have NASCAR for PSP. NASCAR for PSP is like 1,000 times better, right? Like 1, the graphics are just on point. 2, I love the different camera angles. Like, you know, with car games, you either have like that first person perspective or you have this third person right here, but with this particular game, they give you like 4 or 5 different camera angles, whether it could be on top of the hood, whether it be a little bit closer, and I just kind of like that variety. Another thing I like about this game is it's kind of one of those relaxing type games, right? Like it's NASCAR, so they really have tracks and courses like 200 laps long. So if you really just want to turn some music on in the background and just zone out for a sec, like this is definitely one of those games. And that's actually why I made the list. Like when I don't feel like really playing, but just kind of want to do something to kill some time, NASCAR is going to be that game that I pull out. 100%. Not to mention like just the car selection, right? Like true story, like when I pulled out the game, I was like, I wonder if they have the Tony the Tiger car. And then lo and behold, like just off the rip, just scrolling through, they have the Tony the Tiger car. So I'm definitely taking that one. All right, so number 6 is flat out head on for the PSP. Now this game made my previous list on the 353 VS top 10, but it actually made this list as well because it's just a better experience, right? Like being able to play it on a more powerful system on a wide angle screen, like that was meant to actually play PSP. It's a perfect fit. And what I like about it is the driving mechanics, the maps, and the modes. So like just getting into the driving mechanics, it drives exactly how you would expect a beat up country car to drive on a country road. Right, so like this is why I gave it that pass on everything. Like when you turn the corner, it's kind of it's like an extreme. Honestly, you just have to play it for yourself, but like it really drives like you're driving on a country road. So just keep that in mind. Again, you do get the different camera angles, but what I love most about this game are just the different game modes. Like you have, of course, you have regular racing, but then you also have the derby mode, and then you also have this, I think it's called flat out or wreck it, something crazy, right? But like you're going down a ramp, and then you just launch your player out of the car, so you get points based off of how far the driver goes outside of the car after they wreck. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just something different outside of the normal racing type thing, and that's why I added on this list. It's just different. All right, number 5 is Mario Kart 64 for the Nintendo 64. Again, it's the classic Mario Kart. I'm pretty sure Mario Kart is going to make just about every racing list that there ever is because they just did it right. Like it was the perfect kart racer game in my opinion. They did it for the Nintendo 64. It's a cool controller. It was like 4 players on the system. You had your classic 8 characters, but out of that classic 8, like look how far it went, right? Honestly, it's not really too much you can say about this game because everybody knows about it. So we just gonna let that ride as is. All right, number 4 is Drift 2 for the PSP. Now this is actually a newer game that I just got put on to not too long ago, but I added this to this list and it's actually ranked so high because one, the graphics are incredible, right? Like it really made me appreciate, you know, the capabilities of being able to play your favorite games on a 2x resolution. Another thing I liked about this game was, one, I normally don't like rally games at all. I usually end up playing them for like 5 to 10 seconds and then turning it off. This is the first rally game that I actually enjoy, mainly because of the license, right? Like you're able to use real cars. I like the tracks. I like how everything just kind of feels like while you're driving it, and it feels like one of those games to where if somebody were to walk by and see me playing it, they'd be like, oh snap, like what you doing? Like they would think it's more so like a game that came out this year, not really understanding like this game is old as crap, right? So any game that can upstand the test of time, like it's just kind of it's gonna be a good racer for sure. But again, just the driving mechanics, it feels like this one feels pretty accurate actually. As you see, like I'm hitting turns and I'm hitting brakes and everything, like for a rally type game, like it's a really, really enjoyable experience, and I can't say that about the previous games. All right, so number 3 is Asphalt Urban GT2 for the PSP. Honestly, this is probably like your overall best game for like as far as balance, right? Like you have like your realistic features as far as like they have the licensed cars and they're actually real maps, but then you also have that arcade type feel as well, to where you still having a turbo and you still having like the arcadey type feel as far as like wrecking other cars and things of that nature. You still get the cops are still chasing you. You have motorcycles, you have Lamborghinis. Like it's a lot going on in this game, and I feel like it's a good variety, right? It's really, really good for pick up and play. Like let's say you had like 10 minutes you want to kill real quick, this would for sure be one of those games where I would just play this for a sec. And at the same time, like you could also treat it as one of those games that you really want to progress and beat. As you guys can see, I have a Lamborghini, so anytime you see me with a racing game and there's a Lamborghini, that just means I put in a lot of time playing it, because they just don't give you Lamborghinis in the game, right? So I do like the trophy system. I love the way that they have money just scattered throughout the races. So if you were particularly trying to save up for a car, it would not take long for you to be able to get that money to get that, and I like that. Most racing games do not do that. Number 2, we have Burnout Legends for PSP. Now, This honestly was going to be my number one. Like, it was my number one on my last list, but I dropped it down because I got put on to something else. But this is my number 2 on this list, mainly because it's Burnout. You cannot go wrong with Burnout. Burnout has just about every mode. You have turbos, you have dope camera angles, you have, like, it's honestly, like, you cannot go wrong with a Burnout. The only thing they don't have is the licensed cars. Like, they have cool cars, they have cars that, you know, are similar to things that is possibly out, but because they don't have the license, you can't really call it that. But you know, you just kind of get the point. They do have light customization options, as far as like they give you a car and then you're able to change it to like red, white, or blue, things of that nature. But that's not really what you get this game for. You get this game mainly to wreck. While you're racing, you're trying to wreck just about every car on the road. And you're just trying to build up as many points as possible while still trying to gain first place. So with that in mind, I guess being able to have customizable cars wouldn't be too that important. And as you see, what I do like about it, as you're racing, the more you hit, the more things you hit, it does tear up your car. So it's not like your car resets after each time. Like, it actually shows like the progression of your car and the progression of the racing. I just appreciate that detail into the game. And my number 1 game for the Retro Pocket 3 Plus, the number 1 racing game that you should play, is Need for Speed Underground Rivals for PSP. This is the number 1 game because I feel like it crosses off just about every category as far as like a racing game, right? So as far as the brand, Need for Speed just does not miss when it comes to racing games. Like, they just understand it. Second thing is they have licensed cars, so you're getting like the real Nissans, the real Toyotas, the real Supras, the real Lamborghinis. You know what I'm saying? So every car is actually licensed. So that's a good thing. The third thing is just the overall customization, right? That's damn near a game within itself, right? Like, after you buy your car, like, just being able to not only paint it, but like you can just go crazy with the neons, you can go crazy with the decals, you can go crazy with the window tint, you can go crazy with the rims, like you put body kits on it. You can have, it's so many different customization options on this game. Like, how could you not have it as like your number 1, right? Like, if you make a list of just everything that you like in a racer, this game has every single last one of them. Period. My favorite thing about this game is just the gameplay mechanics, right? Like, while you're driving, as you can see, like, the screen looks absolutely beautiful, the set looks absolutely beautiful, everything looks like it's just greasy. So like, while you're racing, it feels like you're racing on like slick oil, and that's actually the type of racing that I like.